It seems like the Elder Scrolls Online is going more with the idea of being a live service game than a game that just does annual expansions. And Mike Finnegan talked about this in a recent interview, and he's talking about the game evolving into something different than it has been in the past. He says instead of delivering regular style content, they want to deliver more communal style moments like the Writhing Wall event. He said that the health of the game is not only in terms of player numbers, but also in the terms of rhythm. The old model of major chapter expansions followed by a smaller DLC created peaks and valleys in engagement, which I do understand. Players come and go as content comes out is kind of what he's alluding to. Players could often feel like they were just waiting for the next big thing. Noting that it could leave gaps in momentum. By contrast, the new seasonal cadence delivers a steady stream of content every few months, giving players reasons to return regularly and keep the game world active year-round. Now, we do know that this year's seasonal content was that bridge year. They said next year, of course, and the years following, the seasonal content will look a lot different than it did this year. We'll have to wait and see, of course, till next year if that's going to hold true or not. He also explained the concept for the Writhing Wall event grew out of desire to make events and other things in the game feel bigger and more communal than the traditional dungeon or zone activity. We wanted to create something where the entire player base felt like they were pushing in the same direction and just not isolated groups running the same content in parallel. He said, with the new seasonal model, we're giving the community a more consistent rhythm. Every few months, there's something fresh. It allows us to maintain momentum and keep the game world feeling alive throughout the year, not just during the expansion season. Now, when it comes to live service games, I think of things like Fortnite, Destiny 2, and even the Division 2 as being some of the bigger live service style games out there. And I know there's a lot of you that probably play Destiny 2 and the Division 2 that are ESO fans as well. I have not played the Division 2 in about a year. Destiny 2 I've played up until the current season we are in. And Fortnite I have not played a lot this year, just off and on. But overall, I still feel like those live service style ideas that those three games do don't really necessarily keep players coming back every few months. If you look at the state that Destiny 2 is in right now, even though I have played Destiny since the original game, Destiny 1's beta, that is when I first started playing Destiny, I have always really enjoyed the game. I feel like this year's Destiny 2 content has been a big letdown, and a lot of players have just kind of dropped off from playing. And when you come up with these new seasonal ideas and new ways to improve or change the game, sometimes it just does not work and the community does not like it. Now, can ZeniMax do something like this? And how bad will it hurt the game? And if they do mess up in a big way, will they go back in and change it, or will they leave it like a lot of these other games do and then just wait till the next season or the next big, kind of update or the next big thing they're going to put in within the season to kind of draw players back in? I still kind of feel like they're not really going to gain a whole lot personally from this. I don't think it's a bad idea, but at the same time, I don't see it being something that really improves the player numbers. Because they had talked about in the past how a lot of players would come in, play the big chapter DLC in June or July, and then after they have completed that, they would leave and wait till next year to come back and play again. While other players would come back and maybe play events and things during the year, but they didn't play all the time. And they seemed like they were fine with that before when they discussed that. Now it seems like they're wanting to bring more things in the game to keep players more interested, but at the same time, I don't feel like you're going to have enough content to keep players playing for 2 to 3 months before the next part of the season or the next thing comes out within the season. I still feel like you're going to have an issue there. And if the season activity is not well accepted, the player count is still going to drop off just like it would with your normal chapter DLCs. So it's going to be interesting to see how ZOS handles this going forward. I'm really going to be interested myself to see how the seasonal model works next year. And if it's more of the live service idea, kind of like what it's sounding like it's going to be, it's going to take, I think, the player base a bit to get used to if you've not played a game like that before. Now, if you're playing things like Fortnite, Destiny, the Division, stuff like that, you're probably going to be used to that idea. Where sometimes the season is great, there's parts of the seasons that are really good, and other times the seasons just are not that great. They just don't deliver what the player base wants. And kind of as I was saying a little bit ago, it's going to take ZOS as a whole to figure out, do we want to put out these updates? And if it's not well accepted, we're just going to leave them and wait to the next part of the season to see if we can get the player base back. Or will they go in and actually work on the stuff that players don't like during the season? That's going to be the biggest thing that I'm kind of curious to see what happens down the road into next year when we have the new kind of season idea out and it's not just kind of that bridge year in between the old way and the new way. The other thing that I think they can learn from what they're doing with the Writhing Wall event, if it does go over really well, I feel like the Writhing Wall event is something they could add into the game permanently. Not necessarily that event, but something like that where instead of it being just a world boss you're going to in a zone that you're in, and of course there may not be as many people in there, it would be some type of server style event depending on what platform you're on that happens every so many hours in game. I think about how Diablo does their world bosses, and everyone can go in and actually participate in that's in the server. That's a really neat idea and something that they could do going forward with seasons. I'm not sure if that's going to be something they go for, but keeping players interested, it will take something like that they can participate in that has good rewards and that happens, kind of regularly inside of the server itself. I think that would be pretty fun. But overall, I'm kind of curious what you guys think about this. Are you going to be interested in ESO if it does go to more of that modern live service idea? And that is what it sounds like with seasons. I know a lot of people don't like seasons. They would rather it go back to what we used to get or used to have, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be what they're going to do, at least for the foreseeable future. Leave me a comment with your thoughts, and of course, if you like the video, hit the like. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.